I am tired of being in this situation. So what are you doing to prepare yourself to get out of that situation? What are you doing? Are you in a situation to where you have something saved up to get a hotel for a couple of nights if something happens in that household? Are you in a situation to where you Hello and welcome to the HERshyt Show, where we talk about people, places, and things. So welcome to this week's The HERshyt Show with your host, Hersh. Just wanted to do a topic real quick, not only on the merch, but we want you to use your common motherfucking sense, right? And we also want you to do what your pocket's freedom and sanity can handle. So you can go on 8robinsons.tv to check out all the merch, and there is more coming. But I wanted to use that, show you that, and it's very comfortable, by the way. And we also have a little bit more selection. But this week is use your common motherfucking sense and mind the business that pays you. I'm not going to stick with that stand-on business bullshit that done took a trend, right? Because there's so many different avenues that you can do with stand-on business, right? But using your common sense or your common motherfucking sense is giving people the space that they need to be able to flourish, right? It's not our job to catty corner people and to just dig into them. This is what you need to do. This is what you got to do. Why you ain't here? Why you ain't there? Granted, there's quite often where we see the potential in people, especially for those that we care for, and we know that they could be on a different level. But sweetheart, one thing that we have to remember ourselves is that everybody moves at their own pace, but you've got to give them their space, right? And I did not mean to rhyme right there, but I did. So we're going to flow with it. Giving somebody their space means, and I speak from experience, I've opened my doors for quite a few individuals, right? Because I like to pay it forward. And from experience, I've always been the type to, I don't want you to have to pay bills. I want you to stack bread, right? Every 90 days, we're going to sit down. We may have conversations in between there, but I'm not going to be in your pockets. I'm not going to be in your credit score. I'm not going to do none of that, because as an adult, my expectations are you're doing what you're supposed to do to be able to get to where you need to be at for your next level, right? And shit happens. Shit happens so much. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell, right? To where we've had to start over. And there's people that may or may not be watching this show that has assisted me in more than one occasion, especially during my younger years, right? When my son was born, I moved 9 times in the first year. You know what I mean? So granted, you know, between my house burning down, I've lived in cars, I've even as a young teen or turning into adulthood, I was homeless. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different stories and avenues that I can go with that. But just know, I'm telling you that part, that little teeny bit, because I can speak from experience when it comes down to making a decision to be able to help other people get on their feet. You know what I mean? And it's not that they fell and busted their ass completely. They may have had a hiccup or a divorce, or, you know, somebody screwed them over and made them lose their previous house, or they just needed to have that space to get right mentally and financially to be able to have that moment to pay down credit cards and get to where they needed to be at to buy a home or to even rent another home or whatever they needed to make happen, right? And we've all had them individuals who are like, man, I just need a spot to stay at for a minute, this and that and the third. Well, I'm here to tell you from experience, you need to have rules in your household, even for grown folks, right? Because there's a lot of toddlers running around. They're toddlers in adult bodies, and they might take that space and get comfortable, to which they may end up falling in line with that complacency. And we've done a show on that before, and obviously need to do it again because some people just didn't get it the first time. you invite somebody in to stay in the space that you hold sacred, right? To me, there ain't no spend a night bags coming in my door for somebody else or for a roommate or a temporary household member, right? There's none of that. If you're not in the house by the time the alarm kicks on, then that's your business. I hope you got a blanket and pillow in your car, or you have somewhere else to lay your head down that night. You know what I mean? Because I have, and I've been told, well, you got weird rules, or you're strange, or, you know, these are adults. They should be able to come and go as they please, and this and that. Fuck that. Fuck that. If you give somebody some space to start over in your household, they have to have rules as well. And my rules stem to be in the house by the time the alarm comes on. You're not having no fuck buddies or baby mamas or baby daddies coming and spending the night, because it's not your house. It's your safe space. You know what I mean? And I love to keep the peace in my household, right? And keep your area clean, meaning the guest bathroom, your room, etc. You know what I mean? I don't like to get in people's way, and I'm not going to hound them or talk to them any kind of way, because they're not my child. They are adults. But we are going to have the conversations of where do you stand, at least every 90 days. And if I don't feel like you're doing what you are supposed to be doing for yourself, and you are consistently going out of town, or you're consistently spending money on bullshit because you have the extra money at the time, then you're not showing me your potential. You see what I'm saying? So another statement that I say is your patterns tell a tale, right? I'm watching your actions, but I'm going to still treat you like an adult. We're going to cook, we're going to clean, you know, we're going to eat together, we're going to have conversations like adults, we're going to clown, we're going to laugh, we're going to do all that. And if we happen to have a barbecue for the household, you're more than welcome to invite a friend. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like if you're giving somebody that space to do what they got to do, one or two things are going to happen. They're either going to get complacent and they're not going to do what they're supposed to do, and then they're surprised when you give them a 30-day notice that they got to figure it out, right? And I've had people that have stayed for a year and a half or whatnot, and it got to a point to where I was like, you know, I felt bad, but at the same time, my guy, you're not doing nothing for yourself. It's time for you to figure it out. Now I got to treat you like that baby bird from the nest, and you're an adult, right? But I've also had an experience where giving somebody that space, they completely flourished. They completely blossomed and did everything that they needed to do. And within a 6-month period, they got approved to buy themselves a home. You know what I mean? Like, they did that on their own. I didn't know what they was doing because I wasn't asking. It wasn't my business. I just sit back and observe. But the individual, like, literally all they did was go to school and focus on what needed to be done. Because if you have the income coming in and you're not paying any bills in the household that you're staying at temporarily, you have the space to be able to pay those credit cards off, to be able to pay that debt down, to be able to get approved for your own location and stack that bread for the first month in the security deposit, or to be able to buy a property. Not everybody wants to buy a home, and I get that. You know what I mean? But even if you're a landlord and you have somebody in your home and you decide to move or decide to sell that property because you've given enough time frame, because they keep claiming they want to buy the property and haven't, then you have to make those tough decisions. But you do not have to be an asshole along the way, even though people, listen, people going to talk about you until you die, and they're going to talk about you even after that. That's okay. That's not your business. So focus on the business that pays you. Focus on what you got going on. If you are able to extend that space for somebody else to be able to flourish, you can't fuss and cuss about it, because you made the decision to open your doors and allow somebody to come into your home, right? But if you also invite somebody to come and stay in the home, even temporarily, for them to be able to stack bread and get that next location for themselves, you need to lay down rules day one. Don't go fussing and cussing and talking to, you know, my dukes or anybody else about what they got going on in your household. You, as the sole provider for that house, need to be able to sit down and that's where communication again comes in at. Not talking down on somebody, not directing them to what they have to do, because again, that is not your child. But there has to be that communication and that understanding. And it has to be an open table. It's not just about you. You're giving the individual the space, but you also have to give them the space to be able to communicate back to you with their perception and their feelings and what they got going on, right? But at no time are you in somebody's pockets. At no time are you in somebody's credit score, because that's not your business. And that also stems down to situationships and relationships, right? You decide to allow somebody to move in because y'all are all in lust and you think that this thing is growing into something phenomenal and forever lasting. So you invite y'all come to an agreement to somebody's gonna leave their establishment, what they have going on, to come and share this space with you, and y'all do this phenomenal thing and y'all are growing, y'all are doing. But then all of a sudden it's, well, the man is supposed to be the provider. The man is supposed to be the protector. The man is supposed to take out the trash every day. The man is supposed to maintenance my car. The man is supposed to do, there's so much on a man's shoulders. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck women's supposed to do besides cooking and cleaning. Like, what is the expectations? This is not back in the day where women can't work. This is not back in the day when women can't make a choice or decide to be able to leave the household as they so desire and go volunteer somewhere or work or whatever. I firmly believe, and this is my perception, you can take it however the fuck you want. Whatever y'all decide that happens in your household is what you decide happens in your household. If you set yourself up to a point to where, especially women, right? I've seen a lot of situations where women will decide, well, I want a man that's going to take care of me. You find that man that's going to take care of you, but then you start bitching because he's never at home. He's always at work, or he's having to travel for work, or he's having to, do something else for work. And then you start bitching about that. But you knew coming in that that man was a very busy individual. He was consistently gone. And instead of you going to the events with this individual, or you hyping that person up to, get to that next level, or help them practice to be able to go to an interview board, especially military and stuff like that. If you're not assisting that individual into getting to that next step, then you are a paperweight. You have expectations of having a Cinderella home, but you don't want to do shit to assist in that home. And I don't get it, women. I don't. But at the same time, it is between you and that individual that you decided to move in with. But if it ever gets to a point to where this individual decides, I'm tired of you, you got to go ahead and go, because we're going to go ahead and do this separation thing. Now, you don't have any funding stacked up. And you've been out of the workspace for decades or even a few years. And now you don't want to get a job because you're so used to this individual taking care of you. But now, especially if children are involved, I'm going to live off of child support and welfare because that's the comfortability of me. I don't want to get up and go to work because now I have this, I just always have excuses. I can't get a regular job because my kids. I can't get a regular job because, what X, Y, whatever excuses you come up with. Now you find yourself in a piss poor situation because you decided to not handle business and stack bread. You decided that you wanted somebody else to take care of you, and now you're trying to get the alimony, or you're trying to stay on a certain standard. Sweetheart, men and women both, you've got to plan accordingly and set yourself up for partial success, or at least some type of foundation for the just in case purposes. Because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. There's some people right now that may be watching or listening to this that like, you know what? I am tired of that motherfucker. Whether it be female or male. I am tired of being in this situation. So what are you doing to prepare yourself to get out of that situation? What are you doing? Are you in a situation to where you have something saved up to get a hotel for a couple of nights if something happens in that household? Are you in a situation to where you have, fuck it, I'm just going to call it an escape plan, to where you're really tired of this individual and is getting to a point to where you are depressed, you're not getting out of bed, you don't want to shower, you don't want to wash clothes, you don't want to clean the house, you don't want to sweep, you just don't want to do anything because now you're so mentally exhausted by being with this individual that you keep finding these flaws in that you decided was the perfect match for you, but the thing that you got into is not the thing for you anymore because you changed. Because people do change. Your mentality changes. Your likes and dislikes do change, especially, maturation, growth. It happens. We change our taste. But are you prepared to get out of that situation? And from the outside looking in, people trying to tell other people, well, there's no way that, my man did this and my man did that. Your man is lazy. Your man is this. Your man is that. Or your woman is this or your woman is that. Like mind your business. Somebody else's household, unless there is some type of physical abuse, mental abuse, or something that is harming children within that household, it's not your motherfucking business who they are with and what they got going on. If they are splitting the bills, not your business. If one is paying the mortgage and one is paying the utilities and they come in together to have a grocery bill, or however they're raising their children, as long as it is a safe environment, it's not your business. If you are the single bitch in the crew and you're looking at everybody, well, I would never take up for that. I would never allow that to happen in my household. Well, obviously you ain't letting shit happen in your household because your ass is lonely. You are by yourself, whether by choice or by fate or by the universe not sending anybody to your way because you ain't really ready. And that's male and female. You can't fuss about somebody else's relation. It's nobody's business. Like, for example, I've seen, and I hate talking about celebrities. Or not hate, I despise talking about celebrities because they don't pay my bills. However, I will use an example. Look at the situation with Jelly Roll and his wife. She's a beautiful young lady. And he is a very outstanding man. Phenomenal, very talented. And people that look at the physical side and say, well, why is she with him? It must be the money. It must be. Why is that your fucking business? She might really love that man. She makes her own money. But the physical characteristics got people making judgment. But yet you sitting over there in the corner and your drawers listening to me right now. By yourself. You paying all your bills by yourself. And you worried about who somebody else is with? Let people be great, man. Let people be happy. Use your common motherfucking sense and stay out people's business. And if you are not in a situation or in a placement in your own life to where you don't have that space to go to if need be, you ain't got no rights to speak about nobody and what they got going on in their household. A lot of us are still living check to check. Inflation is a big thing, and we've already talked about the voting side, so we're not going to repeat that. But whoever somebody is dating and whoever somebody is with and whoever has got the money and whoever doesn't have the money is not your freaking business. And I won't watch the Wendy Williams documentary. I'm not going to watch it. That's another situation where family members are now fighting and mad because she had somebody else actually doing the money side of the aspect. And obviously she signed that document, whether it's true or not. But if she did sign the document for somebody else to be the trustee over her money and how it was spent, there was obviously a purpose that she signed that. And of course, they're going to go to court and they're going to try to fight it and they're going to try to get the money, because at the end of the day, it's always about money. Whenever a family member gets sick or a family member dies, the only thing people in that family are focused on is the money, and it's sad. It's not your business what she does with her money. Make your own fucking money. And I don't like the fact that they're documenting her at the worst time of her life right now, fighting this disease that she has, just like Bruce Willis is fighting his disease that he has. But people are so concerned with what she got going on. Somebody decided to make a documentary about pretty much the worst time of her life, and she's been through a lot. I don't know her personally, but I refuse to watch the documentary. But of course, people are going to watch it because they love the drama, just like people want to talk about their neighbors and what they got going on because they love the drama. They have to have something to gossip about. They got to talk. But then you worried about what people are saying about you. I mean, make it make sense, though. You got to understand that people are going to talk about you, true indeed. But you also have to be able to make that safe space for somebody to be able to want to come and open up to you. And a lot of people don't tell some people their own personal situations until after the fact, because they know you're going to run and tell it. They know that you're going to gossip about it, or you're going to point fingers, or you're going to belittle somebody. So, of course, you are not that safe space. Think about it. And some people really just don't want to tell their business because they don't want their business to be known. And then there's also situations where you block your own blessings because you're talking about something before it even happens. Like, wait for it to happen. You don't have to move in silence, but you also don't have to move around on that little popcorn paper, because you have to have that shining moment, that superstar moment. But then you're bragging about something that hasn't even happened yet, but this is what you're working towards. And then when it doesn't happen, you wonder why. When you start putting it out into the universe of what your plans are, there's going to be individuals that's going to try to hold you down like that crab in the bucket, because they don't want you to have that potential. They don't want you to be able to make it before them. I don't understand the clapping along the way part. When did that stop? So using your common motherfucking sense means you use what God gave you, or whatever religion that you follow, your creator gave you. Use that. Make your plans, stick in your plans. And if you're being metiche, or you're being messy and you're being in other people's business, don't be surprised when the universe decides to sit your ass down. Because just as quick as you got something, it's just as quick as you can lose something. Cherish your moment. Focus on your right now for the betterment of your tomorrow. You could glance in the past all day long. You could glance. Man, look how far I done came. Man, just remember last year about this time where I was at. Pump yourself up. Give yourself a pat on the back. But don't stay looking back, because you're going to run into something in front of you that you could have avoided. Use those old situations as the red flag as you move forward. But don't use your red flags in somebody else's household, because it might not end up the same exact way. Does that make sense? If not, let me know. Let's talk about it. But I am a firm believer. I'm going to speak on somebody's potential, and I'm going to let them know that I can see you doing better than what you're doing. But your choice is yours at the end of the day. It starts and ends with self. But you have no right, especially if your life is fucked up, to talk about somebody else's life. What they say, that's throwing the stone at the glass house, or calling the kettle black, or whatever metaphor you want to use in that situation. Nobody's perfect, but we are all imperfectly perfect for ourselves. And if you're not using what you have, the tools in your tool bag, to move on a different level, what is your goal for next year? What is your goal in 5 years? And those goals can change. You have to realize that nothing is set in stone. We go down the paths that are already pre-chosen for us. But you can also make the choice to go off that path and make a different path, because it may be a little bit harder, but it's not that other path, the easy path isn't getting you to where you wanted to be. But your wants and your needs are two different things. And if you are blocking your own blessings by some of the choices that you are making, then you might want to shake yourself and get right. You got to wake the fuck up and stop living in fantasy life. This world is not getting easier. This life is not fair, but you live every day and you only die. You live every day, you die once. I got tongue-tied. You live every day, you die once permanently. Because there might be some situations in there where you die temporarily, right? But we live every day, we die once. We need to focus on our path in the business that pays us. Because if you're always being in somebody else's business and what they got going on, you're going to continuously be miserable. And if you are in a situation to where, you know, it is extremely depressing, you don't want to go home, you know it's some bullshit, you know, your likes have and your tastes have changed, then it's time for you to start making a plan. But whoever is paying bills in somebody else's household, who's ever doing the cooking, the cleaning, the trash taking out, the car maintenance or whatever, not your business. It's between you and the individual that you have in your life and what y'all decide to come in between and do. And anything outside of that, if any, like I said, we could talk about it. We could talk about it. But as always, like, share, comment. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and reach out to the HERshyt Show at gmail.com. If you want to just come on and talk shit with me, or give us a topic, or let's talk about your business or whatever, let's make it happen. But in the meantime, between time, use your common motherfucking sense and do what your pockets, freedom, and sanity can handle. And check us out on 8robinsons.tv for the merch. Till next time, bye.